Welcome to Fueling the Future, Convenience Retail Insights with your host, industry veteran John Lofstock. Brought to you by Ignite Retail, the most intelligent retail technology on the planet. C-store experts, thought leaders, and trailblazers will be interviewed to serve up conveniently snack-sized, actionable insights and strategies that will accelerate your success and prepare you for the challenges and opportunities facing our industry. Let's get started.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Convenience Retail Insights podcast brought to you by Ignite Retail Technology. I'm John Lofstock, and I am joined again by Ernie Harker. And Ernie is the president of Burn, and he is also the chief marketing officer for Ignite Retail. Ernie, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Good to see you again, brother.
Yeah, good to see you.
I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. When I see you, it's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, like we said, my hair's coming in though, so I don't know, if yours is coming in as good as mine.
Almost.
Ernie, we have, in our inaugural podcast, I thought we really covered a wide range of topics that dealt with branding and some marketing and how it helps with employee retention and recruiting and building up the entire company in the community. For this podcast, I wanted to take a look at a major growth area that everyone seems to be talking about, and that is generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone seems to kind of have a vision of what they think AI is, or they're convinced this is what AI is, or where AI is going. So I figured, let me go to our branding expert, and why don't you tell us what exactly is generative AI as it stands now?
Okay, good. So generative AI is basically artificially intelligent software, neural network software, that is able to create new things that don't exist using text or image-based prompts. Whereas right now, most technology is able to, you give it a prompt, you ask it a question, it will find something that already exists, an image query, a text question query. It finds something on the internet that already exists, and it basically pulls that and presents that to you. Generative AI creates something that does not exist and has never existed before. That's generative AI.
Wow, that's not scary. Okay. So if you're a convenience store chain, where are we trending with generative AI?
What's cool about generative AI right now is there are so many different avenues to bring to bear to help a convenience store. So I specialize in marketing creative production.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I think is super cool is, I know one of our sponsors is Ignite Retail Technology. They have software called Epiphany that is so intelligent that it can read camera footage. Okay, it just ties into your current camera footage. It understands exactly what's going on, and it can give the user, it could be the frontline cashier, it could be an executive in the back office, or whatever, gives them actionable, interpreted data, not just a filter that you create, a software that you create to, when this happens, give me this prompt. Nope, it's deeper than that. And so, by the way, that helps the small operator more than anybody, because a small operator has fewer resources to bear. Like if you're in the top 10 percentile of convenience stores, you probably have an employee who is a data analysis. He looks at all the data and interprets and then brings it back to the executive committee and says, look, based on these trends and these reports, we should be doing X, Y, and Z so that we can turn that 1% into 1.3%, times that by 1 billion, and we're doing great. Well, if I'm talking to John and his Quickie Mart of 15 stores, his staff is not as robust as a larger store, a larger chain. So what I focus on, my expertise on, is marketing, branding, communications. So, John, you'll probably have, if you had these stores, okay, just so you know, listeners, John doesn't have stores, but I'm just using this as an example. So, so John, if you have these stores, your marketing person is most likely going to be someone who's not a graduate with a degree in marketing communications. They're typically somebody who has taken a class in design, has been proven to be a fantastic frontline employee who loves the company and wants to build a career in the company. Now, everybody who's listening to this is going to go, oh my gosh, Ernie has me pegged. How did he know that? It's probably because I've talked to so many of you. And these marketing directors who don't have training in marketing, they want so badly to please you. They are working themselves to death to please you. But there are so many different things that they're on their plate. One of the things they do is probably category management. And category management takes a tremendous amount of effort and time, which leaves very little time to do marketing and branding development. So this is how generative AI comes into play. Using generative AI tools like ChatGPT, DALL-E, Midjourney, that allows you to create very simple prompts, enter very simple prompts to get highly valuable content back. So for example, a marketing director might be told, hey, we need to come up with a loyalty program. It needs to be branded. We need to come up with a logo. We need to come up with a text message, a website that where people can learn about the benefits, features, and learn about a text message that welcomes people to the site. Maybe that's an email. That's a good email. Email message. Hey, welcome to our loyalty program. And then we need to have text messages every once in a while that promote a price point or an offer for members of the loyalty program. We also need to have in-store point of sale signage. Imagine being able to create all of those things, every one of those things, in under 3 hours. Okay, I did that as a case study.
Mhm.
Logo. I came up with the name of the company, the name of the loyalty program. So it wasn't just, John's loyalty program. It had something to do with the brand. It had its own logo. I created photographs of consumers at a gas station. The gas station itself had the accents of the colors of the brand that would have taken hours to go and photograph. Well, if I can just get a photograph in a matter of seconds by just typing in a prompt, it's going to save time. So this marketing person using generative AI tools can now create content at scale for much less money and much less time and with fewer human resources than without. That's the key.
Just kind of crazy. Just hearing it almost sounds crazy. So this
Yeah.
is not a employee replacement tool by any
No, no,
stretch.
no, no. It's an employee enhancement.
Mhm.
It it takes an employee and basically maximizes them because what it leverages their ability. So they basically put in some prompts, and instead of spending an hour writing a paragraph about the loyalty program, they just put up some bullet points. Okay, we know these are going to be our benefits. This is kind of the theme of our brand. Please provide a paragraph, an introductory email for this loyalty program. It spits it out for you. The marketing person might need to touch it up just a little bit, but they just saved them 45 minutes. Well, I don't know about you. Time is scarce. And I would love 45 minutes at the end of the day or an hour or two.
On multiple projects, so you
Yeah.
could save quite a bit of time. Um, in terms of going back to your original comment about understand a smaller chain using it, how
Yeah.
granular does it get in kind of understanding the consumer? Like, could it? One of the things with Epiphany, as I understand it, is you
Mhm.
could query what's our top selling SKU with M&Ms in store
Yeah.
two. Just type it in,
Yeah.
and you'll get the answer.
Yeah,
If it's analyzing camera footage, could you potentially get real granular and kind of get an understanding of not what the customer is buying? Because you can run reports and find
that's
out
right.
like who's buying with it, but what they're not buying. Like 40% of your people walk in the store this way, they pick up an apple, but they never buy it. And they put it back down and they buy a Hershey bar.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I mean, can you do stuff like that? I mean, that's
Well,
space age.
what's cool from what I understand about Ignite's epiphany is we've relied on structured data that requires specific prompts because the data that it will pull has been pre-architectured into the software.
Mhm.
What I understand Epiphany does for Ignite, it uses human language prompts to get access to all that data. So I could say, how many people pick up an apple and don't buy it in our stores? Brrr. What time of day does this usually happen? Brrr. Um, what in order to sell more apples, what are three options I might try to test? Brrr. Okay, now in a matter of minutes, I've got some pretty good ideas on do I need to let's I have 15 stores. Every store sells apples. In every store, people pick up apples, they put them down. We've got a major problem with apples, apple closings. In these five stores, these five stores, these five stores, we're going to come up with a reduced price in apples. This one, we're going to package the apples differently because we just got some reports back that tell us what it can do. Now, I'm not sure if Epiphany does that, but generative AI can give us this kind of feedback. I believe Epiphany can. Um, do we just try the things that the generative AI is proposing to us? And we can test it. We can watch. Then we can watch, compare the sales, which is great about Epiphany. Epiphany has access to sales data, So we actually have like not just watching what's happening, but sales data, frequency, time, all those kinds of things. Um, do we put apples on sale for a specific, like on a discount for a certain period of day? It's like we have like happy hour for alcohol. We got a happy hour for apples. Breakfast time, apples only $1. You know, so that's what
So
generative AI can help us with.
there are so many thoughts going through my head right now. So when you are a 15 store chain, all chains are looking to,
Yeah,
to cut costs, reduce waste, et cetera. Utilizing this predictive approach, you can probably figure out to the meal what food service you need to prepare for the day. What based on, Tuesdays we sell this much, Wednesdays we sell that much, and predict in next Tuesday when it takes all these external factors into it. You could probably predict with a high probability, a statistical probability of getting it right, what your food
yeah,
service is going to be.
yeah. Imagine though taking that to the next level and saying, what based on what we've learned
Mhm.
and predicting sales, what can we do to affect increase of sales?
Mhm.
What are some things we can try to increase our sales? Because predictive is basically using the history and saying, based on all these different points, temperature, outside temperature, pricing, traffic flow, time of day, time of year, season, all that kind of stuff. Based on these things, you're most likely to sell on Friday. It's going to be a sunshiny day. You're going to sell X number of items. What, right? Well, now ask, what can I do to increase that by 10% or 5%? What options do I have? Well, this is what generative does. It comes up with stuff that you didn't put in to
So it would
the
be able to
formula.
tell, okay, like predicting how many people are going to respond to text messages or email campaigns, stuff like
Mhm.
that, or even more predictive than that.
Even more predictive than that. You could say, like, let's say, for example, apples.
Mhm.
I want to sell more apples. Obviously, apples can stand for gallons, fuel gallons. It could stand for hot dogs. It could stand for whatever. I want to sell more apples. What are ways I can sell more apples? Predictively, I know I'm going to sell 3 on Friday because of the temperature and based on the forecasted temperature and based on the previous 5 years of selling apples. What can I do to sell more apples? I want to sell 4 apples instead of 3. What can I do? And it'll say, have you done an email campaign? Have you done a text messaging campaign? Have you done? Now, if you have, you enter that into the software or the thing. It says, hey, we've done this, this, and this. What else can we do? Are there adjacencies that we haven't thought of? We don't have to actually ask the adjacency question. Like, for example, what if the generative AI is able to see everybody that buys an apple, every one of them also buys a Snickers bar? Do you want to sell more apples? Put a promotion on Snicker bars. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. I certainly enjoy an apple when it's combined with a Snickers bar. It's like a caramel apple that's made in my mouth. So, but there are things like that that generative AI can help you with that we don't have, that traditional software doesn't give us.
Okay. So if I'm a retailer and I want to start getting into this, first of all, who are you seeing this right now in C-store, or is this more of a conceptual retail idea?
I haven't seen it. I have not seen it in play in any business. And the reason I haven't seen it is because I have been focused exclusively on generative AI for marketing and production, creative production. So I'll get some generative AI helps me come up with helps me brainstorm ideas on what to produce so that I can produce instead of spending an hour creating a text message with an image, I can spend an hour creating 5 text messages with 5 images. That's what generative AI helps me do.
Okay.
There are experts, by the way. Someone's going to be listening to this and going, oh my gosh, we provide the solution for what you guys have been brainstorming about. I've talked to Brian McManus at Ignite, who is kind of like one of the masterminds behind Epiphany. And I am as blown away as to the potential of what generative AI can do in that as most people are when they hear about creating photographs out of thin air in generative AI. To me, I've done it so much that I get really good stuff back that it's not that much of a secret. It is kind of weird when I hear people say, yeah, I started using generative AI a year ago, but it's garbage. It doesn't give me what I want. I'm like, totally makes sense. But you're probably putting garbage in to get garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
The secret sauce is called prompt engineering. How do I engineer a prompt to get useful results back? And after a year and a half of trial and error, I've come up with a very clear formula that works very, very well to get
So
good stuff back.
a year and a half is not an insignificant amount of time. So it kind of shows it. I mean, it's improving. It's getting better every day.
It is getting so good, so fast. It's scary good, scary fast. Like when you said, "Ooh, that kind of that alarms me," I'm alarmed because I used to easily be able to tell what a generative image looked like. Some of the results I'm getting now, it's like, there's no way. Nobody would know this is not a generate. I mean, I've actually taken photos. This is one of the cool things. I'm a professional speaker. I speak all over in the industry. I speak outside of our industry. But I wanted photos of me speaking to a larger crowd that I didn't get a photo of. Okay? Easy peasy. I use generative AI and come up with I describe the image that I want of a bald, fit guy speaking from stage in front of a large audience wearing a red suit. Great. It doesn't look exactly like me, but I upload a photo of me. And I say, change, it's called swap face. Same, different expression than the one I have on my photo, but it puts my face on the other dude and it renders it perfectly. Using a little bit of Photoshop, I tweak it just a little bit. The nose is too big, nose is too small, whatever. Ears are wrong shape. I fix those a little bit in Photoshop. Easy peasy to do. And now I have an amazing photograph of me speaking to 1,000 people on stage.
It's wow.
That's terrifying.
Well, I'm looking at it from a marketing standpoint. My God, you could turn a two-person marketing team into, your own in-house agency.
Absolutely. When you get good at these tools, you can compete with the best. Large agency, I mean, every marketing department on the planet should be using generative AI right now. If they're not, I mean, so one of the things that you wanted to have happen in this podcast, what actionable things can I do right now? Here's what I would do. You get freaking on top of ChatGPT, pay the 10, 15 bucks for version 4.0. You have access to 4.0. The difference between 3.5 and 4.0 is basically the difference between the intellect between a middle schooler savant and a college student savant. The answers that you're going to get are still very savant-like, very focused. Give me the very specific prompt, and I am super intelligent. I'm going to go dig deep. I'm Rain Man. Okay? By the way, anybody under 50 is going to go,
Doesn't get that reference. Yeah.
Okay. But
I did, for what it's worth.
I'm Rain Man. So that's the difference in magnitude of intellect you're going to get from prompts from Chat 4. What's going to be crazy? Chat 5 comes out. Oh my goodness.
So that's what that actually was my question. What was the time between 3.5 and 4.0? Like, what
I
is?
think it was a matter of just months. It was a matter of months. Yeah. And seeing the images change in the past just 8-10 months, image generation, Midjourney is a phenomenal image generative tool. I think they're on 6 something right now. I started using it version 4 something. The complexity, the detail, the accuracy of photographs, paintings, graphic design, it's astounding. And so takeaway number 1, jump into ChatGPT and Dolly. Dolly is an image generative tool that reads images. Imagine this. You take a flyer of, let's see, I would do, okay. The marketing department has created a text message, right? A text message about this. I need an image to go with this text message. So I take that text message, I put it into ChatGPT and says, will you please create an image for me that accompanies this text message? It creates an image for you that you can then direct. This is too busy. Will you please reduce the busyness of it? I'd like this to be more bold and graphic. I'd like this to be more of a photograph and less of a graphic. It's a conversation now where you get to direct it like an art director. And each time you come up with it, it comes up with a description, the perfect description of what it is that generated. You can look at that description and go, this is why it's getting it wrong. I'm going to copy and paste this thing and change it a little bit.
What's the time lag when you say make this bolder or reduce this? Like,
it's less than a sec. It's less than 60 seconds. John, it is like it's like I compare it honestly to I've got a genie in a magic lamp. I spent the first, I started drawing when I was like, 10, 11 years old. Every elective class in high school was drawing and painting. I studied illustration in college. I learned anatomy, every bone in the body, every muscle group. I learned it in animals. I learned how to do landscape painting. Oil paint, watercolor, Conti crayon, colored pencil, like you name, airbrush. I had to learn all these things. Now, somebody can type a phrase into Midjourney, into Dolly, ChatGPT, and get something that would take me, a professional, 10, 20, 30 hours They get it in less than a minute. Mind
I
blowing.
mean, I don't know what to say. That's it, it's scary, but I think of the possibilities.
Yeah,
Where should retailers start? Again, I hate to sound like a broken record and start slow and
yeah,
work your way up, but whether it's an image or a text or email campaign,
yeah,
come up with, get into it that way, right? I'm guessing.
yep,
I
yeah.
don't know.
So first thing is the executive committee owners
Hmm.
give permission. Give permission. Kind of say, hey, will you please? I want you to 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 use this, investigate it. There are YouTube videos all over the place that teach how to do it. So give people permission to investigate. The amount of time that they'll spend investigating and learning will make up for, because they'll save so much time implementing the things that they're learning, will will make more than make up for the time they spent learning about it. And you're going to finally get those marketing materials you've been begging for.
And the cost of entry seems to be very low.
It's very low. Like seriously, I think it's like 10 or $20 or something like that for Chat GPT 4.0. Midjourney is free, but there's a free version and a paid version. I think the paid version is like $30 or something like that, 20 or $30. I can't remember. I don't even care anymore because I get so much value out of it. Um, the anything that's free, generative AI free, is public domain. So the outcomes, the illustrations, animations, or whatever, is public domain. If you pay for it, you own the rights to use that. It becomes your product.
So it's not even duplicated. What if you and I, a day apart, queried the same exact thing?
If you if you use the exact same prompt, it will not get the same result back.
Just based on history? On
No, it's because of the way generative AI works. Um, think of it this way. This is the easiest way I can kind of explain it. And Midjourney is a generative AI tool. And what it does is it has been trained to analyze an image, interpret it, so basically come up with text descriptions of that image, and then it breaks it down like it dissolves it by the pixel, like it eats it away like acid. All right.
Mhm.
Now it's done that gazillions of times for different type watercolor paintings, sketches, whatever. Right.
Sure.
When you give it a prompt, it reverses that, and it starts with what we call a seed, a pixel. Boom, you drop a pixel and it germinates. And it starts building an image based on the prompt. Every new seed is a completely different germination of an image creation. It's like you create a test tube baby with a tiny little pixel, and each time you do it, it comes up with different look and feel. So
Okay.
there's going to be, even if you use the same seed and the same description, it'll be different.
Which is great if you think about, if you're having to do a monthly promotion,
Yeah,
every time you enter something, you're going to get 12 unique promotions,
yeah. Like
12
one of the things
unique
that I
email
did
campaigns.
that I had just a blast with, and that is like, because I spent so much time working in the Maverick world, I thought if I were to use generative AI right now, um, Maverick has this outdoor adventure setting. So, what are some outdoor adventure settings that would be really cool to place one of our products on? A burrito, a drink, whatever. One of them was, okay, I want a photograph inside of a forest. It's backlit, it's morning, and I want a big flat tree trunk that's been cut off. And so you see the rings in that tree trunk.
Hmm.
Okay, I it created such a beautifully impeccable, realistic photo of a tree trunk that I'm like, now I need a soft drink. Type in a cola soft drink in a clear plastic cup, condensation, beads of perspiration are on the outside of this cup with a red straw. Creates a beautiful photo of like, okay, cool. I'm just going to cut that, paste it onto this tree trunk, and then create a graphic that says 99 cents with your loyalty card. I got a photograph of a beautiful drink in a beautiful setting that's a branded setting. It's not just a photo of a drink that would have cost an hour or two, plus looking for stock photos of that perfect tree trunk. It's like, that's why your marketing's not getting done, because it takes too much time and it
Or if you
costs
had
too
to
much
hire a
money.
photographer, yeah, if you had to
Yeah,
do a actual photo shoot, I
yeah.
mean, it's
And
expensive.
I've done that before. It's like
Mhm.
getting a bacon egg chicken biscuit sandwich on a picnic table covered in gingham at a farm at sunrise. Okay, that's what I want. That would be a perfect photo. That would be a perfect photo, by the way, for country fair, because the gingham and stuff and a little barnyard in the background.
Oh, with their new design, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So I'm like, okay, if country fair's marketing person was able to put that type of prompt in there, within a matter of minutes, they'd have a beautiful photograph of that sandwich in that environment. To photograph that, they would have had to pay a food stylist, a photographer, to spend time overnight at a farm or nearby a farm. They would spend, which means that's a full day. Okay. They have to show up, dress the dress the item at right before sunrise so they can take, basically, they've got a 10-minute window, 15-minute window to take those pictures. They take 50 pictures and the photographer retouches them. You have to, if it's not local, you flew that photographer and food stylist in. You're looking at $5,000 just to get that photo. And here's why most people don't do that. They take their iPhone, they go to the store, they take a picture of the chicken sandwich, and they have this generic looking blah, blah, blah sandwich. And it doesn't compete with the national QSRs that we're competing with.
Mhm.
You know, the Wendy's. That's why their sandwich looks so good.
It's
It's
exactly what
because they
we're
spent
doing.
the $5,000. Generative AI takes away that advantage.
Do you think they are moving? I mean, obviously, this has to be on everyone's radar now,
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
imagine.
It would
You
be
know,
irresponsible for them not to be.
sure. On the surface, it almost sounds like it would kind of stymie the creative process, but in reality, what you're mentioning is all the examples you just gave is an incredible creative process.
Oh, you know what? For me, I could look at this, and I think other illustrators and artists are the same way. They go, here's what usually happens. Generative AI will never take the place of a human being. So they incorporate some morals into it. It's an abomination. It's trying to replicate a human, which it'll never do. Okay? But I look at it as I can do more stuff faster than ever before. I can get iterations to things faster than I've ever been able to do before. If I wanted an illustration or a painting of something, instead of me spending 13 hours on it, I can spend a minute and a half and then an hour retouching it. My client gets the value of a 13-hour product that costs them less to do because it costs me less. Am I going to be more or less likely to get more business from that client? More likely, because I'm able to provide the solutions they need with greater value. And that's what generative AI can do for a professional photographer, professional illustrator, professional writer. It's like I can get you more stuff better, faster. Why wouldn't you want that?
So the theme here then is really we're kind of demystifying the whole process. Don't be afraid, right? It is
Yeah.
there's some scary stuff, but
Yeah.
don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. I'm not saying that AI isn't going to take over and there'll be our master lords in a couple years. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. But until that happens, let's put it to work for us, you know?
Let's go have some burritos at dawn in a forest. Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, this is fascinating stuff. Again, so okay, first steps. You said go to the board, get permission, but then
Yeah.
you name some of those programs again. What you recommend? What you?
So these are the three that I use all the time.
Mhm.
ChatGPT. ChatGPT can be used for creating descriptions of images that you want. So help me write a description of a photograph for generative AI. So it'll help you do that. DALL-E is embedded into ChatGPT. So you can ask ChatGPT to create an image for you. It's actually DALL-E that is creating that image for you. ChatGPT is text to text.
Mhm.
DALL-E is image to image or image to text or text to image. So it's an image generator. And then there's a program called Midjourney. Midjourney is by far my favorite image generative tool. I provide a text-based prompt to describe the image that I want, and I get phenomenal results back. And by the way, if anybody is like struggling with getting good, useful stuff back, go to earnburn.com. There's a tab at earnburn.com. I think it's like kindling. I call it kindling. Earnburn, obviously, flame, kindling. So go to earnburn.com and you can download for free a AI generative prompt guide. And it basically walks you through the step-by-step process of how to design a prompt to get unbranded stuff back.
Great, and we'll include our email addresses in here. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to Ernie
Yep.
directly or reach out to me, and I know how to get a hold of him.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well, good, Ernie. This is, again, in all our conversations, this is just some really good stuff. And it further shows just where retail is moving. It's not Cokes and smokes anymore. It is a highly technological food service, mecca
Yeah.
that retailers have a lot to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's exciting about this industry. That's why it gets people like you and me like stoked about selling gas, because it's not just about selling gas. Convenience stores are the heart of the economy. Like one of the things I love about the convenience store business is that there are so few businesses that touch customers as frequently as convenience stores. Like, man, like banks don't do that. Like restaurants don't do that. You might go get a Big Mac a couple times a week, but you might swing at a convenience store 2-3 times a week, maybe more.
Mhm.
So we have an opportunity to captivate even more customers, and then more customer shopping experiences by just enhancing just a little bit.
And then when you combine that with loyalty programs and
Yeah.
opportunities to get them to repeat, you're starting to look at kind of capturing that holy grail of getting customers from your pumps into your store, getting them from their couch into your store. Even with this rise in third-party delivery, this is
Yeah.
a real good way to communicate and get them that call of action to kind of get them into your store.
Oh,
It's
you
amazing
betcha.
stuff.
You betcha.
Good. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about this in the future. So.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Good, good. I want to again thank you, Ernie, for your time today. I appreciate all your
You bet.
insights as always. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Convenience Retail Insights podcast. I'm John Lofstock for Ernie Harker. We look forward to having you on a future podcast. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks for joining Fueling the Future, Convenience Retail Insights with John Lofstock. Tune in next time for more snack-sized nuggets of retail insights to get your business booming.